To play number 2, Duke, in tomorrow night's second game. The men's basketball contact is Pete Moore. The head coach is with us, Jim Boeheim. We're going to ask him to make a statement about being here in Omaha, and then we'll go to questions. Jim?
Thank you. We're happy to be here. It's great to get into this be in this term in the beginning. To get here has been a great tribute to our players. They've really worked hard all year and have really played well in this tournament.
Jeff Gravely, WRL TV in Raleigh. You spent a lot of time with Coach K as friends, as coaches with USA Basketball. Does your relationship change at all now that you're in the ACC and that he has now officially, quote, borrowed your zone defense?
No, it really doesn't. We've been friends for over 20-some years, almost 30 really, and we've worked together 11 summers. And if two guys like us can work together over 11 summers and still be friends, that's pretty good relationship. His use of the zone, he's used it a little bit in the past, but I think with this team, he felt this was the right defense for this team, and that's kind of what I used to go through when we played both. I think he's done a great job of using a 2-3 zone and differently than we play it, but it's really effective, and I think it's made a huge difference with his team, with what the defense has done for his team, not just his defense, but also to help, I think, his offense as well. Because when you're struggling on defense, it does affect your offense a little bit too. But he's done a great job with it. They play a really good defense.
Sam McDowell with Kansas City Star. Jim, with the way player compensation is currently set up, is that the right model for your sport, or do you feel like it needs changing?
Yeah, we need to continue to tweak it, to do more. I don't think we've done a good job of explaining to everybody what players actually get in terms of the cost of attendance, in terms of meals now. A player can get a meal or 2 meals really a day, and then our players take their meal money. And so they actually end up with a fairly good amount of money each month with that and the cost of attendance, and if they're eligible, $5,000 or $6,000, whatever it is, in Pell Grant money. So I think a player can get, there's some cost of attendance. That's where it's a little bit difficult, a little bit of a problem. Some places the cost of attendance, a player gets $6,000. Other places it's $2,000. So there's a wide variance there, which it'd be nice if that could be figured out. I don't know if they will or not, but I think basically players can get $1,200, $1,500 a month plus their full scholarship. That's a good model. I think we need to continue to look at that. Coaches have asked for years to do more, and for a long time they said, well, you couldn't do it, but then they did it with the cost of attendance. So I think hopefully there's still some room in there to give more to the players. I think we need to stop and understand there's 4,500 players playing college basketball, and about 50 of them are going to play in the NBA. The other 4,400 are pretty happy, like I was, to get a full scholarship. And as far as those 50 guys, if they don't get money in college, they get a lot of money down the road. And the other 50 or 100 that play in Europe do all right. But the vast majority of college athletes, college basketball players, are probably happy to have a full scholarship and the cost of attendance and leave college with a degree and a great basketball playing experience, in my estimation.
Good afternoon, Jim. Matthew Gutierrez from the Philadelphia Inquirer. Jim, 1966, your last college game was against Duke. What do you recall from that game alongside Dave Bing?
We had an 8-point lead and we somehow blew the game, so it was a very disheartening, disappointing game. Duke had a great team. It was one of their better teams. Jack Marin and Berga, Vasindak, they had a really good team. But we played them in Raleigh, and we had a lead. I think it was 6 with about 7 or 8 minutes to go, and we just couldn't quite close it out, and it was very disappointing. Lost. That was, of course, the year of Texas Western. Duke ended up playing Kentucky in the regional, and Verga got sick, couldn't play, and they lost to Kentucky. I thought they were really the better team, but yeah, I remember that. At 17.
Mike Waters with the Syracuse Post-Standard. Jim, can it help either team tomorrow night offensively going up against the zone since both teams play zone?
Well, a lot of teams play zone, and it doesn't mean you're necessarily going to play well against it. Duke's a very, very good offensive team. They play well against man-to-man and zones. They've seen both all year, but they're a very good offensive team, and they'll play well against. They've seen that they play zone. That helps a little bit. We've played pretty well against zones this year. For the most part. We did not play well at Duke. We didn't shoot well at Duke. They made some very bad plays. I think we'll play better against their zone this time, but they didn't shoot well against us there. I'm sure they'll shoot better. But it helps somewhat, but not necessarily that much.
Coach K. Carlton, South Boston News Record. The last time you and Duke met to close out the regular season, Bagley and Carter go for 35 and 17. What do you need to do differently defensively to try and contain them tomorrow night?
They're a problem inside for everybody. They've averaged right around that for the year. What they did against us wasn't unusual. I think they averaged pretty close to that, 34, someplace in that area. But they're difficult down there. We have to be concerned and do a better job. Our center got in foul trouble down there, but we did a good job on the perimeter shooters. That's important. But I think the key really for us against Duke is we have to play better than we've played down there and than we played in this tournament. I think we're perfectly capable of playing better, even though the record doesn't look like that based on what we've done in the tournament. But, we played against 3 pretty good man-to-man defensive teams. And seeing as Duke does play some man-to-man, it wouldn't surprise me if they played man-to-man in some cases against us. But, we'll be prepared for that. But, I think we've overall played pretty well against zones this year.
Yeah, I'm Chuck Culpepper from the Washington Post. I saw you on TV yesterday saying defense is beautiful, and I wondered what factors and details and elements maybe in your unusually educated view make defense beautiful.
You mean my view's unusual? I think defense is good. I think, it's funny about the fans and public and the media. Everybody says defense wins games, but then when they see it, they don't like it. Fans and uneducated in the media and uneducated in the fandom base want to see 85 to 82 games, which I think there is a beauty in that, and or 90 to 95 or 100, and you can do that. You can watch the NBA and see that anytime you want to. College basketball is different. It's always been different. You can control the game a little bit more with your defense and with your offense a little bit too. But there's a good thing in watching a good defensive team. If you're an offensive guy, then you're not going to like it, probably. But if you like defense and you see good defense, I watched Virginia's team play, and I think they're great I love to watch. Their defense is unbelievable. It's fun to watch. But if you like offense, you're not going to like it. But, we try to play a combination of good defense and good offense. This year, we just can't do one of those two things. We've had many teams in the past that have played zone, but we've averaged 80 points a game. We just aren't good on that end of the court. Where we struggle is on that end. On defense, if you like defense, it's good to watch. But our offense has struggled, and that gets difficult sometimes to watch. I don't like to watch it sometimes.
We have 5 minutes to go. Next question's here, and then 3, and we'll try to get you 2. Go, please.
Coach, Mark Tracy from the New York Times. This is the second time in a row that you guys have hit the second weekend as a double-digit seed. Obviously, no one plans for that. No one aspires to that. You want to get the highest seed possible. I get that. At the same time, is there something either kind of in regards to attitude and outlook, or even in regards to style of play, where you are somewhat well-suited being, at least seed-wise, the underdog?
Well, I think we struggled this year for good reason with our offense in a good league, and we just couldn't win. We were close to winning 2 or 3 more games. We just couldn't get it done. But it means to me that if you lose in overtime at Florida State, you lose a close game at Virginia, you lose to Carolina at home by 2 or 3, you're still a pretty good team. And so when you get in the tournament, you're still a pretty good team. And we could have lost at the buzzer against Arizona State. They had a 3 from the corner. If they had, we'd have been home, and nobody would have talked about us at all. But we squeezed that one out and got by TCU and Michigan State. So we're here. So we had the capability of that. We just, we're not able to get it done in the regular season. The last 2 years when we made it to the Final Four, we were a little better offensive team. And so when we got in the tournament, we played better offensively. This year, our defense has carried us without any question. But that other team, we had 2 guys that are in the NBA on that team, Malachi and Tyler Lydon. So it was a little better offensive team, and there was 2 seniors at the guard spot. So it was this team's much younger and much more challenged on the defensive end. But our zone helps us a little bit in back-to-back games or with a team that hasn't played against us. And a lot of teams have not played against zones, or if they played against a zone, it's not a good zone. So there's some teams that will come in with a false sense of security that, well, we played against zones. And, we did well. But it's different. Our zone is a little different. It's better. It's just better because we work on it. We play it more. Duke's defense has gotten better this year, their zone, because they've worked on it and played it more. So that might be a factor in the tournament that can help us, particularly back-to-back games when you have one day to prepare. So those are some of the probable reason that we can do that. But you still got to make plays, and our team has made plays down the stretch. Even in the regular season, we made a lot of good plays in games to either win or to give us a chance to win. So I like this team. They give you everything they got. I don't think there's many teams that have, we have 4 of our 5 frontline guys are freshmen, and the other guy is redshirt and sat out a year, so he's hasn't really played a full season. So it's unusual to have that many young guys in your front line unless you're at Duke or Kentucky. Those players are a little different.
We're under a minute. Next question's here.
Matt Park, Syracuse Radio. Coach, I was going to ask about 66, so I'll test your memory here and lean on it a bit and see if you have any recollections of the 98 tournament game against Duke in St. Petersburg.
Yeah, we hung in there for a while, but they made some long ones. The freshmen from Georgia made some really long threes, and we hung around, but they won the game pretty easily, is what I remember. It's probably why I don't remember it very well.
Final question.
Yeah. This is a pretty easy one, Jim. Eric Olson with the AP. Just the way things broke, 3 teams from the ACC get here. It's pretty uncommon at a regional to have 3 from one conference. I guess kind of what's your thoughts just on how things broke with 3 of your league teams getting in here?
It happens. I talked to the committee a little bit about that by accident today, and when you get a large number of teams, in one conference, they're going to meet up if they can get through, you know. And I never like to play teams that I've played, you know, in the tournament, and I think it's better for us when we don't. But we have done it in the past, and we've won those games. But you know, I guess the good news is we'll have one team from our league in the Elite Eight for sure, and maybe two. But yeah, it just is what happens. And today, trust me, when we got in, I didn't care where we were going or who we were playing or what day it was. We were happy to be in the tournament this year. Obviously, it was close. I thought our strength of schedule was good, and I thought we were right there. But, you know, last year we were right there too, and we were on the other side. We were one place different last year. And it just goes to show you that when you can get in at the bubble, you're certainly capable of winning games. And that has only increased, that likelihood has only increased over the last few years when you have so many really good teams. It used to be if you were on the bubble, you probably couldn't win anyway. But now those teams can win, and there's more than a couple teams that are on the bubble. You know, I mean, I know whenever I talk like this, people just get crazy, and I get criticized everywhere in the country, but I'm used to that, so it doesn't bother me. But I've always advocated for more teams from when it was 64 to 68. And the playoff system that we had this year where we go and play, I think you could duplicate that in another regional and get a couple more teams in or 4 more teams in, whatever the number is. And I just think that when you give fan bases and players that opportunity to go play, even if you don't win, you had that opportunity. And I think it's a great thing, because if it hadn't gone from 64 to 68, we wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here now. And so it's even better when you're when you're not, you know, you squeeze in and you can still get here. When I started coaching, if you didn't make the Sweet 16, it wasn't even a big deal. You know, you had to make the Sweet 16, or else it was just awful. Now making the Sweet 16 is a good thing. It's a very good thing. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're. I mean, obviously the 1 and 2 seeds expect it, but it's still a good thing to get to the Sweet 16, because it's pretty darn hard to do. So we're thrilled to have that opportunity to be here.
Okay, Jim, thank you.
Thank you.
Best of luck. Tyus Battle and Frank Howard are with us. It's a 15-minute session. We will go straight to questions and stay on time. Thank you. Go.
It's for either one or both of the players. Mike Waters from Syracuse Post-Standard. Tyus and Frank, can it help you guys, or maybe it also helps Duke too, offensively going up against the zone, since you guys play it yourself?
Tyus, you're first, then Frank.
Yeah, I mean, it could definitely help us. I mean, we know how teams try to attack our zone and stuff like that. So we put in some different things just to get easier shots against Duke's zone, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think our zone and kind of everybody's zone is a little different, you know, especially now people are running a lot more, you know, so people are putting their own little twist on it. And, you know, I think our zone's a little different. So, you know, certain areas are a little bit more open than other zones. But, you know, they have a great defense. You know, they're long, athletic. But, you know, playing in practice, you know, you kind of get used to the pace and, you know, certain moves and stuff you got to do to attack.
Tyus, Christian Guzman, Citrus TV. You saw Duke earlier this year, tough loss in Cameron Indoor. What do you take from that Duke game and try and improve on for tomorrow's match?
Well, down there, I thought we did a pretty good job defensively, especially on the perimeter. We just have to do a better job containing the paint and stuff like that. And down there, we just didn't shoot well. I don't think that's going to happen again. I think we're going to be more prepared for that stuff. And that's pretty much it.
Anything else for the gentleman from Syracuse? Okay, gentlemen, smart class. Thank you very much. Okay.
Just one quick, last one, and we'll turn class loose. Frank, you've been through this before, having been to the Final Four. How do you transition from one weekend to the next, particularly when it was, for a lot of us, maybe not you guys, but a surprising win Sunday, and then you're right back onto another trip?
Yeah, we in this tournament, if you prepare to lose, you're probably gonna lose. So we're preparing for the long haul. Taking care of our bodies. Making sure we pack for the extra long trips. But I think we after you go through each round, you kind of eager to get to the next round. So once we finish that game, we wanted to celebrate that for the night. Have a good time, with the coaching staff and the team. But, we just wanted to get back to practice and, get down here.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much. Best of luck tomorrow.